It is the Riot. Hi.
Hi, podcast listeners.
How you guys doing?
Did you put it in there when we were talking about people's podcast times with it?
I didn't, but I could.
I know for you guys who listen to our podcast, you have put in some impressive hours for 2020, and you've been sending and texting us to 8772 RadioU a lot of your Spotify top podcast numbers. And man, some of the hours you guys have spent with us this year have been amazing. And I know a lot of people just had extra time at home, and having the podcast on helped them out and kept it busy. So we're glad you guys had a chance to enjoy so much of the Riot this year.
Well, you know what? Let's say hi to a couple of people. Stephanie was one of the people that sent that in. She listened to 15 episodes of the podcast in one day.
One day.
Pretty darn impressive. And I'm looking for...
John had the other one in Florida.
Oh, there it is. So John, he listened to Worst of the Riot. He's listened to 220 episodes, which was 43,666 minutes.
And thank you for listening so much.
Really appreciate you guys hanging with us.
So if you're getting any of that from Spotify, send it to us and text us so we can see how many minutes you put in this year.
All right. So, hey, in today's podcast, we talk about TikTok. All right. Let me just say this. There's a lot of COVID talk in here. We talk about all the great news from the CDC, but then we also talk about some of the restrictions in L.A., we talk about the mayor in Austin, Texas, that's my favorite. That is hands down my favorite thing. I just keep thinking about it and laughing.
I know, it's too much, right? It's just too much.
It just is so human. It's just like, yep.
Of course you are.
Of course you did. Of course that's what you did. Let's see. There's that. We talk TikTok. You know what? I went ahead and kept our fangirling spot on Stephen Christian in there.
Oh, that's fine.
We really like him.
We do, and we talk about our RadioU Christmas channel, which Obie and I host. So when you're done with the podcast and you want to listen to some music, check out RadioU.com or a free RadioU app, and you can click on our Christmas channel and hear a lot of us and the bands that we play with their Christmas music.
Voice commands for Christmas, Lebron James, Canadian Baking Show, Baconators, San Francisco, Dunkin' Donuts.
That's the list.
So it's disease, food, and sports.
Every so often a show in there.
Sounds good.
That's what we like.
So, well, hey, I hope that you guys enjoy the podcast.
Yes, and please go ahead and text us, 877-2RadioU. Put your name, and then if it's not during our studio hours, they just mark it as the Riot, so we'll see it when we come in next, and we can get back with you.
All right, enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
It's the Worst of the Riot on RadioU.
I am really enjoying this week all of the little things that are coming out about our leaders across this great nation who all have, joined hands to, hop on platforms and say to us, stay home while they're somewhere else.
It has been shocking to see some of the people that you look up to as your, local level community leaders, and they tell you these passionate pleas to stay home, which so many of us have been doing, and then they themselves, you find out, are not following it, even though they've been saying they have.
Here's the new one. The mayor of Austin this is great. He's living the good life. He's got a vacation home in Cabo. And he filmed a video telling everybody, you got to stay home. It's a life or death situation, blah, 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 blah. He filmed that from Mexico.
So he posted a Facebook video back on November 9th, and now these details are finally coming out. He was warning Austin residents about the spike in their area for coronavirus virus cases. He just did not disclose that while he was telling everyone to stay at home, that he was speaking from a house in Cabo. Which he had taken a private jet after attending his daughter's wedding to go and stay there. It just keeps leveling up.
Listen, it's not like I'm some elite that's out of touch, okay? The problem is with you rabble, you people at the bottom, you're going to file onto this plane next to all these filthy people. I took a private jet to make sure that I didn't have to rub elbows with people like you.
It's also hard when you've been hearing all of them come back. And like when you were taught when you were younger to just well, why don't you just apologize? If you've done something wrong, you didn't realize it. But then they all come back and they're like, well, he said he did not violate his own orders and he consulted with health officials before the wedding and the trip. But everybody's just like, hey, this isn't what you do.
It's absurd.
Especially while you're doing your video from there.
Well, okay. You know what it does for me? It does a couple of things. One, I have tried to act in good faith as much as possible regarding COVID-19. We've been asked to wear masks. I have. Asked not to travel. For the most part, I haven't done that, mostly because they've canceled all my trips, but it's fine.
But it is still good.
There are all these things that I feel like I've given up and or done. And so when I am even actively saying to others, look, let's do this. I know we don't like it, but let's do it. And then when leadership is just like, well, you guys need to. Obviously, it doesn't apply to us. It makes me go, all right, you know what? Forget it. I am not going to get out there and use any influence I have on anyone anywhere to encourage them to follow the guidelines that you put in place but are not willing to follow.
Sure.
It's like, forget it. If it's do as I say, not as I do, then how about do what I want?
Well, why don't we just take a realistic approach with a lot of our mayors and stuff and realize that just like with others, they're probably not 100% truthful or realizing. I told Obi the other day when we were talking about another one, I was like, man, I feel like they're just reading what someone wrote for them and they're not even like actually absorbing it or understanding what they're saying. And they just read it and then that's all they do.
And it's like they're reading it and they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like all they know how to do, they're Ron Burgundy. They're just reading off the teleprompter, but they're not getting the content at all.
That's exactly it. And so then for us, let's just not focus on them. Let's focus on the message and not, what they're doing.
Forget it. I'm going to start walking naked through the square, hugging people.
Do we have a square?
Wherever that is, I don't know. And just be like, look, I had COVID-19. I don't think I have it anymore. Let me spit on you. I'm the mayor.
Why don't we not do that? But I appreciate your unique plan.
Just, you know what?
These are just ideas, right? These are ideas.
I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do. I'm just exploring the space.
Like, what Christmas tree lighting ceremony is this? It's just Obadiah. Just don't mind him.
You know what? It's better if you don't go. Well, you said not to go. I'm going.
Oh, you're going. Oh, no.
We've got an archive of everything stupid the Riot has ever said at your fingertips. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
This is where I share some news with Nikki about TikTok, only to have her tell me that she's known about it for a year.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Okay, well, in this case, TikTok has announced that they are going to be raising their length cap on their videos.
For when you film?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So right now, TikTok, you get 60 seconds, and that's it.
Sometimes some TikToks feel a lot longer. It's really about editing and what it ends up looking like.
But they say that they're in the middle of an early rollout that will continue throughout the end of the year.
Yeah.
Allowing users to post 3-minute videos.
3 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
So that will give you more length. I think that eventually TikTok will look a lot more like YouTube down the road. I don't think it'll be the extreme length that YouTube has, but I think it'll have more of that style to it. They'll just keep adding length and more length.
Oh, it's okay. If you go back historically, YouTube at one point, I don't remember how it worked, but I just remember there was a time when it was like, these videos can't be more than 10 minutes long.
It was just short videos.
Right. You couldn't do that. And what's funny was then that had more to do with the fact that they didn't have enough space or whatever. Like they didn't have the system worked out. So now they do. Then you've got TikTok that comes along. And the thing that makes it unique is not that there's a technical limitation on the space, but it forces some artistic vision. That you only have 60 seconds. And now they're like 3 minutes. And I mean, it's not necessarily going to be a slippery slope. Twitter, was it last year, 2 years ago? They moved from 140 characters to 280 characters. And people thought it would be the end of Twitter. And they didn't realize the end of Twitter came a lot sooner than that.
It already happened, but it's fine. Some users are excited because a very popular trend is the continuing part 2.
Oh, sure.
Because you can't get enough in for, the first one. that is a tactic used to keep you to going back to the user's page.
Right.
So to kind of string you along. It doesn't mean that creators will no longer do the part 2 part of it, but this would at least allow more time to try to stop that from being such a popular thing.
Yeah. I mean, I am, like, personally not much for TikTok. Nikki sends me the important TikTok videos I need to see.
That's my job. I don't make them too much. I mean, if you follow RadioU Official, you can follow us on TikTok, and I made the last one there. But
you did? Good
I
for
did,
you.
but outside of that, I don't really create. I just like to watch the For You page stuff.
Yeah. Well, Nikki is out there keeping me informed, and now she can keep me even busier. What do you think? I mean, you're the one that loves TikTok.
I don't want to watch necessarily a lot of 3-minute ones.
Yeah.
That I feel is a bit long, depending on the style. Some of them, it should be fine.
Yeah. I get it, but it's just one of those things where I'm sure it won't kill it, but it's like, you know what? I'll just tell you, even right now, I should have been done 30 seconds ago.
It's about editing. It really is.
The thing that so few people understand is that a great product is typically a short product.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that War and Peace needs to be a pamphlet, but what I'm saying is that often when we talk or when we're doing a video or something like that, we throw in a lot of things that you just don't need. You think you need it, but you don't. And so it is fun to see people grapple with the 60-second time limit. And by raising the limit, they actually are going to not allow more creativity. They're choking it. Creativity often thrives under limitations. So.
Surprised they wouldn't go to like 2 minutes and then the year after 3 minutes after that. You know, slowly roll out the minutes.
Then again, what do I know? Maybe this is going to be the thing that puts them, okay, they're already on top. It keeps them on top.
Who knows? It just depends on what type of creator you are. I think they're trying to get different types of creators to come over to TikTok.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Yesterday, and okay, this is going to get nerdy, but because it's Christmas, it feels relevant because I haven't been out in stores doing Christmas shopping. I wasn't out in stores yesterday. For Christmas shopping. I was out buying some other things. But everybody's talking about how, retail foot traffic is way down. And for Black Friday, there weren't a lot of people lined up. And, it just kind of wasn't a thing. Let me tell you what. I saw the lines yesterday.
Some places them. There is plenty of people at plenty of places.
I went to a Micro Center yesterday. Now, not everyone has those. I get that. See these Reddit
Maybe that's why, because it's not around and there's not other places outside of online to go and see some of this stuff.
So I got there yesterday. I was there buying some audio equipment, and there was this huge line of people outside the front door, and I was like,
what are they waiting for? Is still the graphics card stuff?
It's like, guys, whatever this is, I'm not a part of this. Like, I just need the thing. It's the whole other side of the store.
Well,
okay?
Did you have to wait in line because they were capping how many people were in the store?
I walk up. That's what I thought, too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my gosh. They finally, there's so many people in the store. They're not letting us in, which was also bad. That would have been a bad thing. But the guy, there's a manager standing there. He's like, are you here for a graphics card?
Oh.
And I actually said, I was like, do you have graphics cards? He was like, no. Those people in line were waiting there in case there was a second truck that might have some cards on it.
Well, I am impressed.
And it was a long line.
I am impressed at the dedication of some people that are trying to get these graphics cards.
I agree.
You're willing to wait in line every day.
I know. It's crazy. And so I got in there. There was a secondary line.
Oh,
like,
inside?
I got inside, and the guy's like, would you want some hand sanitizer? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Walk in. And I'm like, what is this line for? Like, well, this is the people that got some vouchers that are waiting in line with their voucher for the graphics card.
Oh, in case one does come in.
I was like, you know what? I hate it here.
No, you don't.
I don't. I love it.
You love it there. And I think that more people are willing to wait in line because now it's like a friendship thing and you're able to go see and you're hanging out with people and you're waiting and it's all fun.
Well, I went there and bought a bunch of stuff, half of which I'm going to end up returning. So I'm going to take that back. But I looked yesterday. There was another graphics card launch yesterday for computers. And it's like, it's just the same as the PS5. There's just not enough to go around. There's just not. Like,
so if you want one, you have to wait in line if you even get one.
That's the other thing. If you said to me, Obadiah, if you go over there and sit for 12 hours, we'll give this to you. It's like, all right, you promise.
Yeah.
You guarantee me
you'd wait
that for 12, if I wait 12 hours, I can have one. Yes. There's no guarantee.
If you had
Some of these people are waiting hours only to have them say, we didn't get any.
But if you had nothing else going on, this was your thing, it's like a job. I mean, those are the hours you'd put in.
It's like a job, except you're not getting paid.
And you're spending money. It's the opposite.
I mean, hey, I get it. I totally understand the passion. I guess it comes down to the only time I had the time to do that is when I had COVID. And I could have cleared that line out for sure. But I think people would have just like beat me up. And
well, what you need to do is go around the building and find the line in the back where delivery trucks are going. That's where you should be waiting in line.
There are roughly, I think it's like 10 or 12 micro centers around the United States.
Yeah.
And I belong to a subreddit. So I hopped on there last night to see what it looked like. And there were places where there were hundreds of people in line before the store opened. What? Nope. Can't. I'll never, it's not going to happen. Sorry, guys.
See you in 1 year when there's like 3 people in line left.
No, I don't want to wait in any lines. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I just want to go to the store and have it be there or just ship it. Like, forget about it.
It'll never be installed.
I know.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
Anchor and Braille has a new Christmas song, which you can now hear on the RadioU Christmas channel. That's at RadioU.com, our RadioU app, and our RadioU Roku channel if you'd like to listen to it anytime. And if you've installed the RadioU Alexa skill, just say, Alexa, ask RadioU to play Christmas, and you'll hear the channel.
I'm not kidding when I say this. Stephen Christian is the kind of person I want to be when I grow up. He's the lead singer. You've never met anyone so effortlessly cool in your life.
And so kind and nice. Still very grounded for being so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like when you talk to him, if you looked at all the stuff this guy actually did with his life, you're like, wait, excuse me, what? You do what? And you're this? No. Like, man, I'm at... Like,
yeah.
I'm rubbing 2 pennies together, like trying, like, look, this is how much cool I have. And I'm trying to get some friction here. I'm trying to get something out of my cool. And Steven from Amberlin, he's like Scrooge McDuck swimming in coolness. Yeah. He's got whole buildings full of it. And he has so much, he doesn't even know that he has it anymore.
Well, a lot of times when someone has so much coolness or so much creativity and they are so talented, it doesn't always keep them grounded or as kind and nice. Normally, they lose some of that, but he is just genuinely so nice and always has been.
Most of the time, I don't know, like they lose contact with the world on some level. And he's just like, nope, still a great guy. The last time I saw him, which it's been a while since I saw him face to face, which is true of everyone except Nikki.
Aww.
I sat around with him and KJ52 talking about South Florida and how he got together with some people to open this roller rink a couple nights a week so people would have a place to go and do something fun. And it was just like, what? Just a nice guy. Like that? And he's like, yeah, and then this and this and this. And you're like, I just put on the radio. That's what I got. That's all I got.
Hey, that's something too, it's okay? And you stayed grounded too.
Yes, I've been grounded many times.
Not that way.
Oh, my gosh. You know what? I'm just saying I'm super impressed with the guy. So I love his music. And it's also a lot of fun to meet an artist that is as good as you want them to be. I don't know. Maybe he's got bodies in the freezer, but I've never been to his house. So.
But for now, he's still nice and wonderful.
He sure seems pretty great.
Maybe the Riot would sound better if they spent less time improving their lives at their gym. That was sarcasm. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Now, Nikki, let's talk about someone who is not welcoming us in for Christmas. August Burns Red is like, come in, please. Every year they invite us into their Christmas. But the NYPD is like, no Christmas for you.
No, you don't get to.
Last night was the lighting of the Rockefeller Christmas tree.
It's actually worth looking at the pictures to see how they tried to stop people from being a part of it.
Yeah, nothing makes people want to get in like telling them that they can't come in.
It's almost like it becomes I'll try. I'll see what I can do.
Is that what you're going to do, police? You're going to arrest me for Christmas?
So usually the Rockefeller Center, like the tree lighting ceremony, is super crowded, a lot of people. But because of COVID, they said, please stay home. Do not come. You would not be able to get in.
Well, they may have said, please stay home. That's what they said at the beginning. If you came out to try to get in, or I love it. They're like, you can't come in here. So they shut down a couple of city blocks. They put up police buses
to block the view.
To block the view and keep people out. Didn't matter. People just congregated around the bus line. So people still got together. There were still crowds. Obviously not as many as they would have had if they would have allowed people into Rockefeller Center. But there were a ton of people out there. The police trying to disperse them, and people like, you look funny in your gator.
Well, basically, they wanted to stop them from gathering on the sidewalk, and that's all it became, just a huge amount of people. And everybody wanted to take a picture. Well, what do a lot of people do when they want to take a picture?
Get together, lean in.
And they take their mask off.
Oh, hey, yeah, I didn't think about that.
So you had a lot of issues of people putting up and down their mask for taking these pictures, and that's what they didn't want to happen.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
Way to go. I think it's funny it almost became a thing to try to go and get a picture, even with the buses in between. Like, it just became a thing to get the buses in the picture with the tree.
It is funny. There's so many people just trying to hang out and get a picture in between. Like, the buses are pushed together, but there's a gap.
Yeah.
And so they're like leaning out, standing on things, just trying to get a picture of the tree.
So if you want to go see the Rockefeller tree, we were talking the other day, you have to get a ticket, and there's only so many people allowed in, and you can only go in, is it 5 minutes? And then you have to go back out?
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Or you're put on the naughty list.
Don't know what that means, but it's not good. You won't get in.
You don't want that. I'm just telling you. So yeah, it was. Did you watch? Was it on? NBC always has that, I think.
Yeah, they said they had a lot of pre-recorded elements to it.
Like everything else.
It was always pre-recorded for a lot of stuff, but this time it really was. And yeah, they had some special with it.
All right. I didn't watch it. That's a bummer. Although sometimes I have not quite, like watching the parade level, but I've definitely watched the lighting of the Rockefeller tree a few times. But, this year,
Worry about your own lighting of your own tree.
I did decorate my tree last night.
Oh, you did? Is it all done then?
It's done.
So everything's up?
Yep.
All Christmas decorations are out?
Yep, that's it.
You're done? You just can enjoy it now?
We did it.
Okay.
Yay.
There are some people that shouldn't have their own podcast. And by some people, we mean these people. Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
Off air, Nikki just said something to me that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that when you hook the voice command stuff up to your Christmas decorations.
Oh, it's amazing. It makes it so fun each day. You're like, they're listening, though. Yes, that's great. And they'll turn it on for me. So that's good.
If the government wants to be responsible for turning on my
Christmas lights,
then that's
lights fine.
On time, then good for them.
No, I love Eric tied them all together. So all you do is just say, hey, Google, turn on Christmas. And then they all turn on.
See, for mine, you say activate Fezziwig.
Well, does ours make some sort of nice Christmas comment? And then he originally had it pull up a Christmas song. Oh. So it would play Christmas music when the lights were all turning on.
So he built a routine or like whatever it is they call that in Google. Yeah.
And then we got tired of hearing the song. So we're just like, well, take that part off. And then in the beginning, the code was burn it all down, and that would turn off the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
We've since changed it to just no Christmas, but it's a little bit more friendlier.
I do like the burn it all down.
I know. I was showing my mom, though, like by video call, and she doesn't understand Google and all that stuff anyways. And so I was like, hey, check this out. Burn it all down. And she didn't laugh. So I don't think everybody gets that humor. It's like, no, it's funny because the lights turn off.
We're like, no. It's funny when the shark eats the guy.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, let's just change it to no Christmas. So we all understand that one.
Oh, I love that for real. Yeah. And I was that guy that I thought voice activated stuff was stupid. I was like, look at you lazy bums. Get up and turn it on. And now I'm just like laying on the couch. I've started putting voice activated things on everything because I was like, okay, I'm laying on the couch. I wish that lamp wasn't on.
Just turn
It's
it
like,
off.
why don't you get up and turn it off? And it's like, well, if I do, then I'll like wake up from getting up and I want to kind of take a nap. So now I just say, like Alexa, blank, blank, blank.
Well, you can go too much into it, though, because Eric came back and the bulbs were on sale. So we got some of the bulbs that do the stuff. And so now, like, our nightstand lamps, like, I don't turn on a lot of lights that are lamps, but now, like, they're set to turn, like, red and green or for Christmas colors. But I never turned it on anyways.
Yeah, okay.
So you're like, well, I guess I feel like I need to turn it on right now.
Hey, I bought one of those Lenovo smart clocks to sit by my bed, and it's powered by Google Assistant, I think. And the thing I love is I'm always panicked that I'm forgetting to set my alarm. So as I'm trying to get to sleep and I'm almost there, and then I'm like, did you set your alarm? I can just talk to it and say, what time is the alarm set? And it'll say, you don't have an alarm set. Or it'll say, your alarm is set for 4:15 a.m.
And now you may go back to bed.
And then I cry a little bit when it tells me that. And then I go to sleep.
Oh, it's nice, though, to have it tell you it.
It is. I'm so glad the government's in there watching over me. It's almost like having a big brother, that cares about you and wants to take care of you.
Again, if they want to turn it all on for me, that's fine. I don't care.
We're doing great.
Yep, sounds good to me.
You're listening to The Riot. Let's all work together today to live life with the patience of a Nikki dealing with an Obadiah.
Gotta hang in there and get through it.
You're listening to The Riot.
All right, Nikki, the big contract extension that I just signed, 2 more years at RadioU.
Yeah.
$85 million.
Well, I'm glad that you found an amount that everybody could agree with.
Yep.
Can you imagine? You'd be like, that's a lot of next upcoming spring fundraiser. It would never end.
So we had to have this fundraiser for Obadiah, but he's worth it.
But he's worth it. You are worth it, but I don't know if it's worth that much money. That's a lot for radio.
Maybe as a person, human life is worth a lot, but I'm not worth $85 million.
You're priceless. You can't put a price on you as a human person, but this feels more like sporting numbers, like for an athlete.
There's rumors floating of like a 25 to 50 cent raise out there somewhere. So
we'll see.
We're holding out for that.
But yeah, I feel like this is a basketball or a football player.
It is. It's LeBron James, Nikki.
Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
He just signed a 2-year contract extension, $85 million. And that will put him with the Lakers for 2 more years. Mm-hmm. And then he can become a free agent.
And in 23 is when he would.
Yeah. And in 23, when he becomes a free agent, his son will be old enough to enter the NBA.
Gotcha.
Wow.
All right. That's so much money. So much money. Good.
Yeah. It's wild.
Oh, that's weird. They're saying as a free agent, he could then choose to sign. That's why that's such an important thing, is he could choose to sign on the team that takes his son.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they could both be on the same team, which I don't know if you'd like that as a player if your dad was on the team. But it's also LeBron James, so like any team would want him. But then I would always feel like the team only wanted me in order to get him.
You mean the son?
Yeah, like if I was the son, they would only want me on their team. I would only have been picked because then that could have brought along LeBron James.
You know, Nikki, that's insightful. Have you ever watched Creed?
The Rocky movie?
Yeah.
I've not, but is that the storyline?
Adonis does not want to use the name Creed because he wants to make his own way. But in order to get what he's looking for, he ends up having to use the name.
Sure.
But then he goes on to prove, Nikki, that he did have what it takes. So... you know what I'm thinking? Want to go watch Creed?
No, I don't think that's what we were thinking at all.
It'll be awesome. Like you and me, I've got Creed 1 and 2.
Oh, you
now,
do?
Now 2 is not as good as 1.
Not as good as 1, but still enough to keep you entertained for a while.
Creed 1's more than entertaining, Nikki. It's heartwarming and it teaches you lessons about life.
So, like, LeBron James is still an amazing player, but, with him going to the Lakers and being there, they've said that a lot of that was for the entertainment as he's creating movies and documentaries and stuff. So not just like, oh, he's so entertaining, but the entertainment field just in Los Angeles as something to do when he's done with basketball.
Yeah, it's an amazing life, I'm sure.
Well, he works hard for it, I bet.
Yep. He plays basketball.
That
and
is
he lifts
very
weights.
physical,
And I know it is.
okay?
I know. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It's fine. This is physical, too. Like, I'm sitting here.
We sit for a long time.
The Riot has now been downloaded. I hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh, my gosh. This is the best, worst news that anybody could have handed me. Oh, my gosh.
You know, like the starting off photo or like the starting off moment, I feel like you need to
A before
document.
and after photo?
Yeah, like you need to document this time, and then let's check in at the end of the month when this is all wrapped up to see how things are going.
Oh, my gosh. Wendy's has just announced between now and December 27th, you can have a free Baconator, breakfast Baconator.
Yeah.
So, like, not a burger, but a free breakfast Baconator every day.
Every morning.
With purchase.
Yeah.
Well, heads up, friends, it can be any purchase. So here's what I've discovered is that I've got the Wendy's app on my phone, and it seems like once or twice a month, they'll pop out a free sandwich with purchase. And so I'll always just go and grab a soda, which is like $1.50. So I've got a soda and a sandwich, and that for $1.50, that's pretty good.
Now you can do it every day.
I know, and that's bad.
You can do it today.
Maybe.
You could use a little something today. Oh, he's tired today. It's been a long week.
Struggling.
So that would be really nice to look forward to.
It would. Mm-hmm.
You could eat it later. You could save it for breakfast tomorrow if you don't want to eat it today.
You know what? It's a good thing that most Wendy's don't even open until 6:30 for breakfast. I have discovered this painfully because if they were open at 4:30, 5 o'clock when we make our way in here, and you'd be telling me that every morning I could have a Baconator before the show.
And you already buy a soda anyway, so that's bonus.
I'm telling you right now, I've already, coming off of the whole COVID-19 thing, I'm not in the best shape ever.
You mean you have your winter weight?
In a lot of different ways, where I'm trying to get myself back together here. I don't know if this is exactly what I need, or if this is something that's going to push me so far down the hole I'll never climb out.
Yeah, but there's only a few weeks left in the hole. So what's the problem?
Well, they say till December 27th, and today's December 3rd, so that's 24 days.
That's 24 days.
24
that
Baconators.
Sounds like a countdown to me. And money-wise, everybody's trying to be more good, better with our money. This sounds like a good plan. You got to eat breakfast.
Now, let's say that the Baconator is 500 calories. I don't know how many it is.
I think that's
you think that's too generous?
Low.
Okay, let's see. All right,
I don't think it's too generous.
Calorie count.
I think it's probably like 700.
730.
730.
Okay. All right, let's take that. Let's take
That's a strong start to the morning.
730 times 24. That's how many days are left. So if you do that, you're going to be consuming 17,520 calories. As I understand it, a pound of fat is like 3,500 calories.
I think so.
So then let's say we're ballparking
Why are
here.
you talking yourself out of it? Why are you doing this?
I'm not. I'm counting the cost, Nikki.
No, you're supposed to.
The cost is $1.50. You got with purchase every day.
Sure.
Plus you get that free Baconator. So we're talking about potentially 4 pounds. Now the other thing is you were going to have breakfast anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can probably shave 250 or 300 calories off, because that's what you were going to have for breakfast. So that means if we do 300 times 24, we can take about 6,000 calories off here. Just, again, ballparking.
What if you're so full, you're like, I can't eat the rest of the day? And then you're losing weight.
I'm sure that's what will happen.
Actually, instead, the sodium's like, you're craving more. You want more.
Sodium's like, I don't know why, but it's like I get the Baconator, and then after the show, I just stop by urgent care, and they do an intravenous, the bag. Yeah, and I just take a couple bags of liquid, and I'm fine.
I think it's funny because you're like, well, why would Wendy's be so generous? Listen, you're almost at that 30-day mark, and it's really true. A habit is formed by that amount of time. So they want to get you in a habit of checking the app every day, and they're willing to get a free sandwich out for each day.
Yeah, absolutely. And they know there is a limited number of people that will actually take advantage of this. But dang.
Well, no judgment if you decide to get a free sandwich today.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Or for 24 days if you decide to do it.
I get breakfast every Sunday. I go out and hit a drive-thru for breakfast. that's a done deal.
Well, I want to remind you for social media, this could be a whole thing. If it was like your big countdown.
I thought about it.
Everybody would love it. They want to see you eat a hamburger thing every morning.
No, I think that's just
you. Or a baconator.
you.
No, they want to see the journey. They want to follow you on the journey.
I'm telling you guys, I am already precariously poised. Like I'm leaning hard to not fall in some hole, okay?
Yeah, but then that's what January's for. Get out the hole then.
No! Get behind me, Satan!
But you're hungry, Obadiah.
The Riot is well-versed on many different topics.
They're shy at first, but they're quite skilled at conversation.
This is The Riot on RadioU.
I want you to know that I stand here not ashamed.
Yeah, you're not ashamed at all.
I watched the Great British Baking Show on Netflix.
Did you finish up the season yet?
Yep.
It ended on Friday.
Yeah, I want you to know that I'm not caught up on The Mandalorian.
But you are.
But I've seen all of the Great British Baking Show.
And everybody asks your opinion every week on like The Mandalorian. It's like, nope, I'm sorry, he's not ready for it yet.
I'll tell you why. The Mandalorian, I insist on watching it in a certain format, meaning in my basement, loud, et cetera, et cetera.
So there's only certain times that'll work.
I haven't been able to get there, and I'm just like, no, I refuse to watch it. I'm not watching it until I can do the whole as close to theater experience as I can in my basement.
Sure.
There. Now, the Great British Bake Off, man, I'll watch that on an iPhone 3, little 2-inch screen. I don't care. And so that's how I've managed to see all of that.
Well, for the Great British Baking Show, that ended on Friday, but I will tell you tomorrow, the Christmas one, like they usually have a couple of Christmas specials, so that comes out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
It does.
I wondered if they were actually going to have those this year because COVID and the bubble. And
I'm sure they filmed it around the same time, but I was just reading an article about, for people that were sad about the British Baking Show being over, you could watch the Great Canadian Baking Show. Like, they have a version, too.
Okay, here's my concern.
What does that look like?
Did you watch American Top Gear?
Yeah, that was bad. Well, I mean, it wasn't the worst. There's worse shows.
Yes, I agree.
It just wasn't the same magic as the original show.
Everything you're saying is true.
So
all of it.
The same thing with the Canadian Baking Show?
That concerns me, that I'm going to get into that, and it's going to be like, you know what? This is just a bunch of people try, but they can't, so come on.
Do they even have a tent, or is they're inside?
I have no idea. It's not available in the United States. Now, of course, Nikki and I can
you can find it.
We can take care of that.
Sometimes my internet thinks I'm in Canada, so it's fine.
You know, if something were to happen.
They say, can you beat Canadian kindness with a... Oh, is it in a tent with... okay, maybe. I'm just reading through the article because I've not seen anything about it yet.
Nikki, they're on their 3rd season.
They're about to start the 4th season.
Oh my gosh, it's on Daily Motion. That is like the track.
You could totally find it on that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, they have a tent.
They have a tent?
They even do the same like camera moves.
Really?
Oh,
Okay, I
yeah.
might have to watch some of it. I might have to. Has anybody watched the Canadian baking show?
I'm scrolling through the first episode right now.
And are there baking shows for other countries too, or is it just Canada?
Okay, you know what? I never noticed this before, but they have like in the background of the tent, they have little maple leaf flags like draped
in
around.
The back.
Do they have little British flags on the?
Probably.
I never noticed that before. Pierre's white Pierre. Okay, French Canadian. It feels made up. Like and they have a guy. They have a Paul Hollywood.
They have all that.
Yeah, they got it. They got it all. There it is. So.
Well, if anybody has seen it, I'm going to try to find it and watch it. I'll maybe not get to it tomorrow, but I'll do it sometime this weekend.
Well, if you just Google it, it comes up on Daily Motion, which is, I mean, like, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel on that.
Oh, it's there, though, at least.
But
it's
there.
fine. I'll watch a few episodes.
Nikki will watch
anything
on any streaming, which she's just like, whatever. I have standards.
Oh, yeah. You like it a certain quality?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Nikki's just like, whatever.
It all looks the same when you're scrubbing through it.
You know what? Keep your Space Camp Blu-ray. I'll just watch this VHS copy that got dumped to YouTube.
Obi always references that. He got me Space Camp on a Blu-ray because one morning, I said there was this old movie called Space Camp, and I was like, oh, I want to watch that. And so he heard me say that.
I bought it
months later for Christmas. That's what he bought. He didn't realize I just went on YouTube, watched the poorest quality of it, and just that was all I needed to do. I didn't need to actually really watch it. I didn't want to own it, and so I returned the Blu-ray because it was bad. The movie's bad. I just wanted to see it for a moment.
See, I thought we were having a moment because I knew it was bad, but I love that.
I don't, though.
I love bad movies.
I don't. I just watched it. Just, there was a playlist of like 4 or 5 versions of it. That was it. I was good.
Nikki, it's fine.
I think some of it didn't even have audio, Obi. It was cut out. It was still perfectly fine.
It's fine.
So I'll watch this show like that, too.
No problem.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Rent in San Francisco is down 25%.
Is it actually down enough to be affordable, or is it still super high?
I mean, it's still about, let's say you wanted a 1-bedroom apartment. Well, what do you think that's worth?
Listen, certain cities, it's almost criminal how much they have for rent. But San Francisco is notoriously one of the most expensive places to live. So how big is the apartment if you want to rent?
They say a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't have any
Studio,
square footage
or are we actually having walls here? Is it a real 1-bedroom?
I think so.
Okay.
They're saying that rent is down about 25%, which brings that to about $2,000.
It's actually better. I mean, I was in a 1-bedroom.
Better than you thought.
That's way better. I was in a 1-bedroom, and it was like $1,100 for it, but it was a fancier one for a little bit. But.
I guess.
But that seems like that's better than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. Well, I looked at one point a 1-bedroom rental, and it was very inexpensive, but there had been a string of murders in the area, and I was like,
Gotta just be able to
the reality of it is that people die everywhere. It's true.
It's true.
And that fate awaits us all.
Sure.
But I'm going to pass.
Yeah, all right. Mine had that pot farm down underneath, and, that guy.
Hey, you know what? That's less heat for me in the winter.
That's right. And, everybody who's trying to find a place to live, there's going to be a quirkiness to all the places.
Now, they say that while rent is way down in San Francisco, it's gone up in places like Boise, Toledo, Albuquerque, and Memphis. And they say that's a sign that people are leaving larger cities.
That's exactly it. That's the people who had to stay near San Francisco for jobs now no longer have to stay there because places are allowing you to live wherever you want.
Yeah.
And then you can move to a cheaper place and actually save some money.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Boise's a great place to live.
Is it?
I used to visit Boise a lot because I had friends there. And
Albuquerque's nice. That sounds nice.
I've never actually been to Albuquerque, but we used to be TVU used to broadcast in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So we probably have some people we know.
It was nice. I went down there once for a work thing, and it's a lovely area.
So, I mean, those are great places to live.
So if you want to look for, affordable housing and you want to go back into a higher populated area, it is definitely cheaper than what it was. But what's going to happen? Give this a few years.
And it just goes right back up.
It's going to go right back up.
You realize you live in San Francisco. Sorry, I don't like it there.
I know.
I didn't like it. I visited and I was like, you know what? Nah.
Let's just put another city that we would have wanted to live in and think of it. It'd be the same thing for that place.
Portland or Seattle. I know Portland's had some issues, but gosh, Seattle. Oh, what an amazing place. I would love, love, love that. But, it's fine. You know what, Nikki? I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm grateful for where I am.
It's perfectly fine.
And this is fine.
So I'm just looking if there's any other details, but they say that, San Francisco had one of the earliest citywide lockdowns in the nation. It still has harsher restrictions, and it's still one of the most expensive rental markets in the country.
Wow. So what you want to be, we need to move into that market, and while prices are down, we need to buy up some property so that we can rent it at exorbitant prices
and then
once it's over.
You got to ride it out, and then you can rent it out.
Yeah. So, and I got so much money laying around for real estate, that'll be no big deal.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about the mayor of Austin? Who told everybody to stay home and then went to Mexico.
No, I don't know if it's worse or not, but he was giving his, back in November, earlier in November, it's been found out that he was given his impassioned plea for everyone to stay at home during Thanksgiving and the holidays. But he did the video while he was at his vacation home in Cabo. So he was on vacation.
What's it like to own two places to live?
Well, they say it's a timeshare. So does that mean were they saying that so people wouldn't be like, hey,
it's not as bad,
you know. So
it's a timeshare.
That was really pointed out in a lot of articles.
A lot of people out there defending that guy. Well, he's not the only one. There's been other mayors and other governors that have, done some things where you're like, holy crap, could you at least live out the thing that you're saying? And man, is that not the story of our entire world right now? We just constantly see people that are out front, the big time leaders, and you're like, yeah, that guy, at least he's doing good, she's doing good, and then you're like, oh crap. Like, I guess they weren't. Man, my life's been full. Like, the whole history of my life. When I was a kid, I went to church. My pastor, he was like, he had at least 2 families. May have had a couple of other ones we don't know about. I mean,
stuff like that.
From the time I was little, I have been watching the people up front say one thing and do another. I would like to say that I'm better than them, but I am sure there are times that I know there are times that I absolutely fall short of what I know to be the good thing, and I choose something else that's stupid. That's kind of the exciting thing about Christmas. If you start looking into who Jesus is, we finally have someone in history who says one thing and does the same thing. We don't even have a saying for that. It's so rare.
It's so unheard of.
We don't even have a thing for that. Like, nobody even knows. We know what a hypocrite is, but somebody that does what they say they'll do, there's probably a word. I don't know what it is.
It is. It's Jesus. That is the word that we must use.
Word, right? So, look, I just want you to know, I get it. All right. You've seen people at church. You've seen people at the mayor's office. You've seen people at school. You've seen people at the Boy Scouts. You've seen people how far down the list do we need to go that say one thing and do something else completely? Jesus is not that guy. Jesus says and does. And when he says he loves you, he says that he forgives you, and he says that he wants to fill you with his spirit so that you can live life differently. He can show you something else. He will see it through. You'll make mistakes. You'll do the wrong thing. You'll fall short. He'll still forgive you. God does what he says he'll do. If you don't have a relationship with God and you want to start one, you can just say, Jesus, I want that. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. I want somebody who does what they say they'll do in my life. And that is exactly who God is. Maybe not the governor, but that's who God is.
You're listening to the worst of the riot. Radio U.
What's on the Christmas list? Some V-Bucks? Want some Fortnite goodies?
What do you want?
Well, Nikki, their next season of Fortnite they've announced is going to be The Mandalorian.
That makes sense.
It kind of does, right? So I will have to say this time around, I'm not a big Fortnite player. I'm not saying I don't play at all. I do play some and have played some, but I haven't really spent any money on it. And so it's that Marvel stuff. They kind of almost got me on that. There were a couple of skins where I was like, I'd buy that skin.
So now that it's Mandalorian stuff, what about that? Is that more tempting?
You know what? I don't know. I'll tell you how they've been tempting me is it's on the splash page on my PS5.
Oh, is it?
When I turn on the PS5, there is the skin of whatever is new and hot in Fortnite. And it's like, oh, you guys are killing me. Stop it. What I'm saying is targeted advertising works. They know this. But they're saying that it's going to be, I don't actually know what all is going to be in there, meaning what kind of skins or what kind of other stuff are they planning for it. It says the story is that players have to work with an alternate reality form of one of the base characters for the game, the deadliest hunters in the multiverse, something, battle pass, Baby Yoda.
There you go. Yeah. That's all everybody really cares about.
Yeah, I mean, if you care enough, you probably already know about all of this. But, yep, that's going to be what the next season battle pass looks like.
And that's the 5th season for it.
Yeah. So spend your V-Bucks. I'm not spending any more V-Bucks or regular bucks.
Are you done? So you're putting a hold on the buying for game stuff and for the end of the year?
You know what? I pre-ordered and paid for, as we discussed, was it Phoenix Rising?
Well, it's already done then.
That's done. But anything else between now and Christmas, it has to be a Christmas present, and that's enough. All right? I have to buy some tires.
What downloadable content is that? It goes on your car, your real car, right?
Sucks.
Oh, is that a grown-up purchase we have to make? Yeah. You have to watch our virtual purchases so we have enough for our real-world ones when those pop up.
I'll just tell you right now, I would rather have the Mandalorian skin
than your tires. But you need the tires.
If I don't get the tires, then pretty soon I'm not going to have any money because I won't be able to get here.
Well, for a while, though, you'll be able to at least stay at home and play the game. You wouldn't have to leave.
Until they turn the electricity off?
You got a little bit of time.
It'll be a good month.
Before they notice.
It'll be a good one.
The Riot Radio U.
Nikki, what's your stance on holiday drinks this year? Have you been to Starbucks yet?
Well, I went to Starbucks when they like the sheep. I just went when they had that free reusable cup day. So I got one of their like holiday drinks when I went through there, but I haven't been back since. It was the white chocolate frappuccino one. It had like this weird salt thing on it.
I've had some of their salty drinks before. They're good.
I didn't like the top of it, so we just took that off. Yeah, just whatever. They were a little heavy on the seasoning.
Somebody's like, oh, look, a dog threw up. No, that was the top of Nikki's drink.
I just put that away, and then I enjoyed the rest of it. It was fine.
Okay. All right.
But that's about it.
Well, want to say hi to, I believe it was Aaron that sent us, Andrew, sorry, different A, and sent us this from Dunkin' Donuts, the purple sugar plum macchiato.
Man, this thing looks good because it's purple, and that's my favorite color. So
I know that purple occurs in nature, but when somebody hands me a food or drink that's purple, I always like, this is not.
Oh, it doesn't look natural to you?
No, it does not.
Well, if you look about, I mean, it's an espresso beverage, and then you can get a hot or iced. It has blackberry, raspberry, blueberry, and then plum, which is where the sugar plum comes in. Flavors with vanilla. So that is what they're calling a sugary finish.
I was going to say, and a sugary finish.
Just mostly sugar.
So, I mean, I suppose I could see myself drinking this hot. I don't think I would want it iced. I don't know why.
On the other, I would like it iced. And I also don't want them to stir it up because I want to be able to take a picture. I know it will not look as pretty as the Dunkin' Donuts photo that they're sending out.
Well, never.
The purple shows up at the bottom. When you get it, it's going to look like a swampy mess. But
yeah. Oh, and it's a macchiato. See, here's the deal. Like, these days, I don't want milk. I'm like, I just don't want it.
But this has a sugary finish to it.
I know. Like, I'll try it. Like, I want to try it. I do.
I don't know if you'll try it with a good enough attitude.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I need to. Let's all take a minute. You don't like
this stuff. He doesn't. He prefers his coffee a different way.
But see, the thing is, like, I wouldn't. Okay, it's not that I wouldn't like this, and I would drink it, but I wouldn't go to it for coffee.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
This is just a drink.
That's something that I would drink and maybe enjoy, but like if I wanted a cup of coffee, that's not it. You know, I just want some drip coffee.
He's just
maybe
a pour over.
Simple
guy with simple coffee.
I mean, I'll tell you, if you want to do a pour over, I'll take that. That sounds delicious.
A pour over doesn't have a sugary finish.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have the hints of vanilla and the plum and the blueberry.
You know, Nikki, one of the problems we have with the American diet, and I am the poster boy for it, is that we have not learned to enjoy bitter or earthy flavors.
Oh, sure.
Everything
we want
has to
covered.
be sugar.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, there's a variety of flavors that you can enjoy that are not sugar. We've just never heard of them.
So they are also using a lot of social media to promote this, and they're asking people to use the hashtag Dunkin' Sugar Plum on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok if you try it. And they want you to get a snowflake donut at the same time and put it in the shot.
I do want that snowflake donut.
You do? That looks better to you?
Also, can you explain to me why the cup says cheer sin?
Cheer, like season, maybe?
It's weird. It could be cheers in, but it looks like they're saying cheer sin. Like, you know, I mean, are they talking about the classic definition? What are they?
Like, cheer to sin. I don't know what they're saying. That's a good question.
People are always mad about what's on these Starbucks cups. Here's something to get mad about.
This is something, you know, in marketing, when you have a new
trying to destroy this nation.
You have a fresh set of eyes. Sometimes they can see something that you didn't see.
Oh, maybe it's supposed to be like cheersin', like cheersin'.
And then even that doesn't feel right.
No?
Anybody know what the cup is supposed to mean?
It means something. What's the green dot? No, because look, that green dot is not a dot. It's an apostrophe. And you know, Nikki, with an apostrophe, that usually means that they've left a letter out.
Ah.
So maybe, is it cheers sing? Cheers sing?
No, it probably is cheers in.
So like we're cheersing.
Doesn't mean it makes sense, but it's probably what it is.
Maybe people say that.
No, they don't.
Maybe they do.
Do you do that anytime you get a drink?
I don't, but maybe somebody else does. Maybe you and I are on the outside looking in.
It's also not END, it's IN.
Worst of the riot. RadioU.
Listen, I thought I'd just take all the really good news and compress it down into these next couple of moments.
Okay.
So if you want to hear some really good stuff, here we go.
Out of the whole show, this is it.
The director of the CDC says that we need to brace for a terrible winter.
Now, I don't think you were being truthful then when you were saying all the good news.
He says that it could be the most difficult time in U.S. health history.
Yeah.
December, January, and February. So don't say you've got nothing to look forward to next year.
Oh, man.
All right? I don't want to hear about that.
Can't this all just go away?
Here, I got some more for you. The CDC would also like you to know that if you're shopping in a crowded store this winter, like for Christmas, that's a high-risk
area.
Activity.
Yeah.
You could be in there shopping for more than just video games and sweaters.
So they're saying just be aware that is
high risk.
High risk. Did you see the CDC stuff about the 10 days? Did you read into that at all?
Well, I don't know. I've got another CDC story here for you. But
is that it?
I had 3 in a row. Maybe there's 4. You tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
Well, how they're saying that if you do not show any symptoms, if you're quarantined because someone around you or someone, you might have come in contact and you're supposed to quarantine, they're now saying that it should be 10 days.
Quarantine is 10 days instead of 14.
As long as you don't show any symptoms.
Right. I learned just the other day that I have been using the words quarantine and isolation as synonymous, and they're not. Isolation means that you know that you have it, and so you've got to stay completely out. Quarantine is just in case you have it.
Correct, but you're still supposed to stay in.
Yeah. Now, so that's 3.
Now we have 4.
Here comes 4. More CDC. The Centers for Disease Control, Nikki, tells Americans not to travel this Christmas. We hit yesterday the highest COVID death toll recorded in 24 hours. That was 2,733 people. Record hospitalizations yesterday. I don't know that these are all in one day, but it's the total. 100,226 people are in the hospital.
So would these be numbers based off of people for Thanksgiving and stuff, like during that warning of traveling and stuff? Would people be seeing it at this point or sick from it?
I would think that you could be. Incubation period is supposed to be 2 days.
Yeah.
And
so you're finally probably seeing if some of these results are from if people were not feeling well from that.
Hold the phone. I said that wrong. Incubation period, they say, can be up to 10 days.
Gotcha.
You usually spend 2 days asymptomatic, and then you start to show symptoms. But that's part of the whole reason that they have you quarantine is because those 2 days that you're asymptomatic, you are still carrying and spreading the virus. So you feel fine, but you're shedding the virus.
Sure.
And that's why they ask you to quarantine. So there really is method to all this madness that they're spewing at you, even though your uncle on Facebook is showing you how it's not real, or maybe he's texting it to you. Or calling you.
Is that your uncle?
Is it? I don't know.
Why is he still doing it? You had it.
Not,
I was like, wait a minute.
He's not.
It's like if he's sending it to you that it's not real, that doesn't work.
No, he's not doing
okay,
that.
Okay, good.
But I'm just saying.
Sure, I get what you're saying.
It's out there. So there we go. That's 3 pieces of good news, and we'll call it 1 piece of neutral news.
Gotcha. From the CDC.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be a terrible winter. Don't travel. Don't go to the store. That's my carry away.
All right. Carry on. That's what we must do. Just keep carrying on.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on Radio U.
Nikki, you know what I completely forgot to tell you about?
What was it?
While we were on Thanksgiving break,
yeah,
I watched Fatman.
The
Mel Gibson
Santa movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how did that go? Did you pay for it or was it free?
That movie is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. What I thought was funny is it plays with a lot of really interesting ideas, but it doesn't really deliver on them. And so the idea is
like the trailer was kind of the most of it, or what do you mean? So
it takes place in this world where essentially Santa's been around for a long time. They explain his longevity because of his joyfulness. Though when we encounter Mel Gibson as Santa, we start with him using his gun to shoot empty cans off of a ledge, a fence or something.
Sure.
And he's obviously a little disenchanted, and part of it is because of the economy. Christmas has hit Santa hard the last few years, and the lack of belief somehow translates to the lack of money and presents. And so he's been accepting, this is amazing, U.S. government subsidies in which the government has agreed to help pay for Santa because overall the existence of Santa raises morale around the world so high that they need Santa. And so he's become an employee. Well, due to et cetera, the subsidy's not as high. So he takes a military contract to begin manufacturing weapons. Because he has such great manufacturing facilities. So that way he can get the money he needs to keep Christmas going.
Sure.
In the middle of all of this, you have Walter Goggins, who you don't get his name, but he's the actor who's been he was like in Sons of Anarchy. He was in the Tomb Raider movie. He was in
other stuff.
What was the Justified? You would totally recognize him. He's always a villain. He never plays a nice guy. He's actually a fantastic character actor. And he is hired to kill Santa. And so he, one time when he was a kid, didn't get what he wanted. So he's hated Santa forever.
Oh, it's personal.
Yeah. And the movie ends with a gunfight between...
Don't spoil it. I mean, tell everybody.
Okay, let me say this. The movie ends with a lot of violence. They're building to that moment the entire movie, and it is weird. It is a weird movie, and the only thing it's funny.
It's Man, by the way.
Fatman, yeah.
Everyone sent us the trailer when that came out a few months ago.
I really enjoyed it, but not because it's good.
Yeah,
it isn't good, but it's the performances from Mel Gibson and Walter Goggins where I'm just like, these guys are nuts. This story is weirdly stupid and insane, but neither one of them blinks. Not once.
How did this get made?
They play it seriously the entire time. And for some reason, that makes it work. But it's not a good movie, and you shouldn't watch it.
Okay, good. Obi's wrapping up with that, just in case you're like, wow, that sounds so interesting. Still doesn't think you should watch it.
It's not good. It's not good.
How much was it to watch it?
$6, $5, $6.
Well, I think we're saving people some money.
Look, I just saved you money.
Look at that.
But I mean, it was technically a Christmas movie. And
so it counts.
And I watched it.
You're watching a holiday movie. And why did you watch that?
I wanted to know. I needed to know.
And now you know.
You know, you spend enough time in quarantine, you make poor choices. This was a poor choice. I regret nothing.
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
Nikki wants to sit alone in the corner eating crab legs.